And she shared with me that that was new to her, that she hadn't been able to do that before. And that to me was just such a simple example of how, when you least expect it, your communication skills can be vital in times of crisis. When you haven't got time to think, you haven't got time to plan what you're going to say, you just have to be instinctive and communicate in the moment.
There are opportunities for our work and careers everywhere, if you know where to look. That's easier said than done, especially in our fast-paced and constantly changing world. Mary Ann Faremouth is talking to experts, employers, and job seekers to bring you insight and understanding about what's possible. This is Career Can Do, where we're navigating the new work world.
Welcome to the Career Can Do podcast, a top global podcast dedicated to helping you navigate the new work world. My name is Mary Ann Faremouth, and I'll be the host for this episode. And today, I am just delighted to have a guest on my show that I have the highest admiration and respect for. Aletta Rochat is the incoming International Toastmaster President, coming to us today all the way from Cape Town, South Africa. And I am just honored to have her on the show because I myself am a Toastmaster and have been for over 10 years. And I know the benefits of being a Toastmaster. And I'm so thrilled to have her on the show today to talk about all the great things this organization does and to talk about what she's going to be doing coming up in her president-elect role. I believe she will be over 143 countries, which inhabits 357,000 members and 16,600 different clubs. So after that incredibly long introduction, without further ado, help me welcome Aletta. Aletta, say hello to everybody.
Hi, Mary Ann, and hi to everyone listening. It is an absolute honor to be with you. I am so passionate, not just about my own Toastmasters journey, but the impact I've seen Toastmasters have on so many people and their careers. Absolutely. You know, the confidence that we build in Toastmasters doesn't stay in the room where we have the club meeting. We take that home to our families, our careers, our communities, our countries. So the ripple effect is profound.
Oh, it really is. And I think, Aletta, I think you'll agree with me. We need Toastmasters. We need the training. We need the networking. We need the support now more than ever.
Absolutely. I agree, 100%.
In our personal and professional lives. Aletta, you've traveled extensively and worked with leaders all around the world. How has your global experience shaped your leadership philosophy within Toastmasters International?
Mary Ann, I think what I've learned over the years is that the solution that we're seeking comes from a variety of sources. And the more people we have to tap into, the better the solution that we can come up with. So to give you an example, on the Toastmasters International board, we have 14 board members and 5 executive committee members, and we come from all corners of the globe. And by listening to different perspectives that I couldn't possibly have based on my own experience, the output is richer. And we're all the same. We come from different countries. We might speak different languages and have different cultures, but as Toastmasters, we unite and connect, and we're there for a common purpose. And that's why it works so well.
Oh, I think you're so right. And I think the human element is front and center with Toastmasters. And, you know, what I've learned is that everybody's there to help everybody else. It's not just about me, it's about we. And I think that's important in our personal and, you know, for sure in the professional arena as well. So looking ahead to your term as international president, Aletta, what are a few priorities or initiatives you are most excited to champion?
We are going through unprecedented times of uncertainty. You know, first we had the pandemic, and then we've had all manner of geopolitical tensions globally, and recently those have ramped up. So as an organization, we have struggled to get back to pre-pandemic levels of members and clubs. So for me, when I think back, you know, we're not the first generation to have to face, you know, profound challenges. You know, think back to when the world wars came to an end, and think back to when the Great Depression was in effect. Those leaders also had to dig deep. just like we have to dig deep now. But to me, it's about getting to a place of possibility, a place of, as you say, we need strong communication skills more than ever before. So let's take advantage of opportunity that perhaps we've overlooked. And it's easy to get depressed. But if we can get to a place where we say, where are there people who could benefit from what we have to offer? Let me share the opportunity with them and serve them when they become members. And just share and serve, rather than thinking you've got to go out and sell. So I want to champion the cause of holding myself accountable and any teams I'm a part of, that we all have this philosophy that we can grow and we can build back stronger. And let's go find people who need what we have to offer.
Oh, I think that's profound. And as an executive recruiter, employment counselor for over 40 years, I know for sure how important communication is in what I do. I mean, if a candidate goes in, Aletta, and they can't communicate and they can't explain why they should be considered, they're not going to get the job. So tell us, we both know how Toastmasters emphasizes the power of communication to transform lives, but share a moment in your Toastmaster journey where communication made a major impact for you or someone you mentored.
I think one of the stories that comes to mind is a friend of mine, Lynette, and she has been a Toastmaster forever, and she and I worked together. I was her coach. And one day she recalled a time when she was involved in a car accident. And she says suddenly, with the confidence she built up through Toastmasters, she was able to take charge in a very stressful moment and make sure that she had the information she needed to put in her insurance claim, et cetera, and to keep calm in the midst of something that could have been exceptionally stressful. And she shared with me that that was new to her, that she hadn't been able to do that before. And that to me was just such a simple example of how, when you least expect it, your communication skills can be vital in times of crisis. When you haven't got time to think, you haven't got time to plan what you're going to say. You just have to be instinctive and communicate in the moment. And I thought, what a gift that is, that in a time of crisis, your Toastmasters experience and confidence can serve you in that way. So that was just one example that came to mind. There are also many examples, career examples. I think of people I know who've been Toastmasters for years, and suddenly when they're presenting to a client and pitching a proposal, they can do it with grace, and they can do it in the moment and answer any questions that that potential client may have, and also develop what I call a quiet authority, that you're standing in your confidence, you're communicating that, and the potential client can see it. So there's so many different ways your newfound confidence and proficiency can show up, but those are just two examples.
I think those are wonderful examples. And I can certainly say for myself, I have really gained so much in my communication area because of being a member with Toastmasters. And I talk about Toastmasters to so many people because I know the benefits of it. Now, we've got a great annual conference coming up for District 56 on May 16th and 17th, where I'm so thrilled, Aletta, you will be joining us at that conference. And the theme this year will be Toastmasters has space for everyone. In your view, how does Toastmasters International create that welcoming space for personal and professional growth?
Mary Ann, I think the best way I can describe this is to tell you a story of a Toastmaster I met here in Cape Town, South Africa. He joined pretty much the same time I did. His name was Emil, tall guy with a smile that could light up the room. And in Toastmasters, when you give your first speech, it's called the icebreaker, and it's simply for you to introduce yourself to the club. Normally, you would have a time allocation of 4 to 6 minutes to present that speech. Emil took 16 minutes to present that speech. Not because he'd crammed too much content into a short space of time, not because he lost track of time, but because Emil had a profound problem with stuttering. And it took him 16 agonizingly long minutes to get those words out. Now imagine being in the audience at that club meeting. Those fellow club members leaned into it and just said, we'll do anything we can to support this man, because he was being so brave as a profound stutterer to come to Toastmasters in the first place. And I watched Emil over the years. He gained his confidence. He became a club officer. He became club president. He became an area director. And a few years later, I saw him in action as division director in front of about 70 people. And he was encouraging us, making us laugh, everything. And he hardly stuttered. And that to me is a profound story of making a space for someone who comes, who's willing to learn. And he learned and he improved because of the support of the members around him. He couldn't have done that by himself. So that is the space. Whatever state you're in when you come to us, you're guaranteed applause, which I think is just fabulous. And people, everybody in that meeting wants you to succeed, and they're willing to contribute to your success. So that's how we make space for anyone in the organization.
What a beautiful story. And I can attest. I mean, I've seen people come in with very little confidence. And because of the support and the training in Toastmasters, they really do transform and are able to perform better in their lives overall, not just in their personal lives, but as we talked about, in their professional lives. And as we both know, if you go on a first interview and you can't present yourself in a way that really impresses that person on the other side of the desk, your chances of getting that job are not as high. So I'm so thrilled. You're going to be leading an education session at this great conference entitled Building Clubs That Are Member Magnets. Aletta, without giving too much away, can you share a sneak peek or key takeaway participants should look forward to at this conference?
Mary Ann, so often I meet members and club officers in particular, and they seem to think that building membership in their club is hard. It's difficult, and they don't know where to start, and they don't know how to do it, and it frustrates them. So if I could guarantee that by the time you finish listening to that workshop, you would have found practical, easy ways to build your club, then if that is of interest to any of your listeners, please come to that session. Because my goal is to make it accessible, to make it easy to understand, and make it actionable. I'm not going to give you the theory. I'm going to give you the stuff that works. And nothing would make me happier than having people come to that workshop, leave with tangible tools they can put into action straight away, and immediately go out and build their clubs.
I love that phrase, tangible tools, because I think that's the one beauty I've found with Toastmasters is we go in and you get information, you get ideas, you get skills that are tangible tools. They work. They're not up in the sky. They're tangible tools. And the other thing, Aletta, that we talked about earlier on in this podcast is the support. I don't know of any other organization that people are members of that get the support that they do in Toastmasters. And I think that's really, really important. You've done so much. You've been with Toastmasters. You've been in various roles. But on a personal note, when you reflect on your journey from your first Toastmasters meeting to becoming international president-elect, what word or phrase best captures what Toastmasters has meant to you?
Mary Ann, if I had to describe my Toastmasters experience in one word, the word I would choose is enriching. I joined the organization not because I was a nervous speaker. I'd always been a confident speaker. And I joked that I was running away from my kids. I wanted something that was just for me, that had nothing to do with being a wife or a mom. And somehow I thought of Toastmasters, Googled, found a club near to me, and off I went. And I was so lucky because the club I went to was a strong, established club with a depth of leadership. And within the first 2 minutes, I knew I would join. And they haven't let me down ever since. I'm still learning 16 years later. But that single decision to join the club and to be active and to keep raising my hand, and that's something I stress again and again. Toastmasters is not a spectator sport. The more you get involved, the better the return on investment. So when after a few months, the club president said, Aletta, we need someone to do club PR. Can you help? I raised my hand and then figured out what I needed to do and got people to help me and went on that learning curve. And I've just kept raising my hand again and again. And every time I do so, the return on investment in terms of personal growth, in terms of opportunities to watch other people grow, in terms of being a contribution, have grown exponentially. So it has been the most enriching thing. It's led to personal opportunities, business opportunities, so many things that would never have happened if I hadn't become a member.
I agree. And I can attest to what you're saying, because owning a recruiting firm, working in areas, I place professionals in the pipeline service industry as one of the areas that I deal with. When I send a resume, Aletta, and my HR person, my client sees Toastmasters International on that resume, I've had people say to me, Mary Ann, I like this person. Their experience might not be as heavy as the other one, but if they're a member of Toastmasters, they're going to come in here and they're going to work as a team player. They're going to support the people we have. They're going to try to make a contribution. So I think that, as we talked about earlier on, everything is in flux. There's so many changes. And, as we go through life, as we go through decades and things, we have ups and downs. But I think now more than ever, with everything in flux, being a member of Toastmasters, I think, helps people personally, professionally, more than ever has, more than we would ever need it to.
And especially in times of crisis and times of stiff competition in the job market, will you have better chances to get the interview, to get the promotion, to get the job if you are articulate and can add value? Absolutely.
And I think, as we talked about, there's lessons that we learn from our Toastmasters journey that relate to business, that relate to community leadership, that relate to our personal life. So the beauty of Toastmasters, I know for me, is that it's helped me become my best self in so many ways. And I'm continuing to evolve. When I go to a meeting and I am an evaluator, or I give a speech, or I do some kind of a role in the club, I walk away after it's over thinking, I'm glad I did that, because I learned something. And listening to the others coming in, and even if you don't participate in a role, listening to the other people, you learn as well. So there's just so many benefits. Well, we're nearing the end here of the podcast for Toastmasters. And, I know that Toastmasters has evolved significantly since its establishment in October 1924, 100 years ago. Aletta, how do you see Toastmasters continuing to evolve over the next 5 years?
Mary Ann, I firmly believe that the same passion that helped the people who came before us grow Toastmasters to this global organization it is now. Those were ordinary people like you and me who believed in what we had to offer, and they shared the opportunity with someone else and they served them. And I believe we're going to continue to do that. We've got the blessings of modern technology. We've got an updated pathways education curriculum, and we continue to evolve. But ultimately, everything we do is done through people. And it's that person-to-person ability to communicate, to resonate, to inspire, to motivate that is going to grow this organization, whether it's a speech at a time, a club at a time, or an invitation to join a meeting at a time. So us as members, we are the catalysts. We are the ones that are going to grow this organization that, as we've said numerous times now, the world needs more than ever before. And it's a gift we can give others, that opportunity to join us. So I believe that in the next few years, that spirit of being a pioneer, of being someone who shares, of being someone who believes in the growth of this organization, that is what's going to carry us forward more than anything else. It's our people. Your success story, my success story, our neighbor's success story, that is what people want. That's what they want to hear. And that's what they sign up for, to be as confident as you, as articulate as somebody else, and as much of a contribution as the third person.
That's well said. And I want our listeners to know, if they want to inquire about this amazing conference coming up, this District 56 Spring Conference in League City here, Texas, on May 16th and 17th, how do they find out about that, Aletta?
I'm sure if they just Google District 56 Annual Conference or Toastmasters District 56 Annual Conference, they'll find a number of links to either websites or Facebook pages. But I encourage anyone who's even vaguely thinking about it, sign up immediately. Those district conferences are such fun. You make friends, you find a network, you find mentors, and you come back enriched and inspired. And I can't wait to be there with all of you.
Well, I am just so honored that you are going to be a part of that conference. I've been going to those for the last 10 years, and I always walk away with so much training and relationship building, information and networking. And I think it'll be wonderful. We're near the end here also, and I'd like to leave our listeners, Aletta, with two salient points they can take with them and think about and digest and learn from. And If you had to leave our listeners with two of those important points, what would they be?
I think the first thing is that everything we do in life is done by people. And as leaders, if our people skills, our soft skills are highly developed, we are better leaders, we are better communicators, we attract opportunity to ourselves. So it's always about the people. And Toastmasters is a place where you learn those people skills. You can test them and try them and learn what works for you and what doesn't. And I think also the second thing is that each one of us has to remain teachable and coachable and eager to learn and curious. Because if we think we know it all, then life's going to be very boring from here onwards. And I believe that there's so much more to learn about myself, about others. And Toastmasters is the environment where there's endless opportunities for you to learn and grow, learn about yourself, learn about others, contribute to a team, develop your skills. You'll never regret the time and energy you put into Toastmasters because the return on investment is just phenomenal.
Well, it really is. It really is. Well, I feel so honored to have you on the show, to meet you, to know you, to learn about your philosophy and what you're going to do. I think that Toastmasters is so lucky to have a person of your caliber on the leadership floor. And again, as I said, I am such an advocate for this organization because it has helped me so much in so many ways. So all of the information about this conference will be on my website, Faremouth.com, but also District 56 does have their own website. You can learn about it there. But if you're listening, if you're an employer, if you're an applicant, if you're a recruiter, if you're a person really trying to decide what you want to do with your life, check into Toastmasters. You will not be sorry, and you will meet people that will become not only interested in your journey on your professional ladder, but also who you are as a person and want to help you become better. So thank you so much, Aletta. It's my pleasure to have you on Career Can Do. And we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye. We thank you for tuning in to our Career Can Do podcast. We make no guarantees on results for your particular quest, but we hope you enjoy the information presented. The views and opinions expressed in this program are solely that of the guest or speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of Mary Ann Faremouth and Faremouth & Company. Thank you.